Hello. Hi. Right, we've got two people, so we might as well start. Hello, I'm BB. I'm a cosplayer from the UK. I'm known as Cosplay. And I'm doing today a panel about special effects for ArdaCon. So Arda Wigs is a great company that does great wigs, and they do the that initiative. They did that initiative for an online convention, and I proposed to do a panel about special effects. So here we are. So this is my cheat sheet. There we go. So as a cosplayer, I've been cosplaying for 19 years. So it started in 2001, and that's me in there. And hello, happy to see you guys. And yeah, I started in the special effects industry about 3 years ago. So I do special effects as a freelancer. I've done some work for the BBC. I've done some work for independent films, and currently I do a lot of conventions around Europe, the UK and Europe, and I do live demos about special effects, and I convert people into creatures and things like that. Morning. So it is 5 PM here in the UK. Good morning to anyone who's joining us from the other side of the pond. Thank you for joining me. Great. So we're going to talk about prosthetics. So what are prosthetics? So prosthetics is a part of makeup. It's different from theatrical makeup. So the difference between theatre makeup and prosthetic makeup. Prosthetics makeup is for film and TV, and it's supposed to be mimicking very well real life. So for when you go, HD, or you go like close-ups and things like that, it should be looking like the real thing. Theatrical makeup, it is designed to be seen from far. So if you're at the back of the theatre, you should be able to see whatever's going on the stage. Therefore, that makeup is quite heavy. So let's have a look. I'm going to show you some samples of prosthetics. So prosthetics pre-painted and not pre-painted. So I've prepared some stuff for you guys. So I've got this prosthetic in here. It's a little horn, so you can place it in here, you can place it in there. You see, there you go. So that's not pre-painted, that's how it... Hello from Arizona, hello. And what was I saying? Yeah, so this is not pre-painted, obviously. So that's how it comes out of the mold. I've done another copy and I've pre-painted it. So that's how I pre-painted it. Then you apply it on the skin. We're going to be doing that later. And it should be blended and it will look better. I've got the samples here. These are some really good prosthetics from a thing that are from Millennial Effects. There you go. Can you reuse the same prosthetics multiple times? It depends on the prosthetics. So I'm going to be talking about silicone prosthetics, which are that's what you use mostly in film and TV, and usually they're only one use. So only because if you see all of these things, right? This is called flashing, and all of this is cap plastic. So that, depending on the materials being used to create that cap. That layer, either acetone or IPA, so rubbing alcohol, you dissolve it. That way it merges with your skin, so like the edge is invisible. So when you remove it, basically you are destroying that prosthetic. So prosthetics are just most of the time it's just one use only. It is possible to create prosthetics to reuse some other times. For theatre, that's different. Again, I'm just going to be talking about what I do, which is prosthetics for the camera, really. There we go. Materials. So I'm going to show you the materials I use. Here we go. So, sorry it's inverted. After we finish the panel, I'm going to be publishing this video on my Instagram, and then you can access that there, and I will mirror it back so you will see all the names properly. So this is sulfur-free plastiline. So basically it's not water-based, it's oil-based. It's not going to dry, and I can show you something to do. There you go. So it's quite hard, as you see. So the more heat you apply to it, it starts going softer and softer and softer. Hello guys, thank you for joining. And these are great because they take really good detail when you sculpt on it. I'm going to be doing a little demo soon. I need to keep a look at the time. I don't know what the clock is. Just 1 second. Great, perfect. So yes, the sulfur-free plastiline. Sulfur-free because whenever you're making a mold, this whole process, there's a lot of chemicals and a lot of chemistry involved. So things cure, things get inhibited, things react to other things. So sulfur-free plastiline, because it doesn't have any sulfur on it, when you do a mold of it, is not going to interfere with the cure times or the cured method of that material you're using. Hi Emily, hello. So that's what we're going to be sculpting with. You can also use other materials. You can also use water-based clay. Excuse me. There's a really good clay called wed clay. So Walter E. Disney is called that. Wed, W-E-D clay. And it is water-based, so that's basically for bigger surfaces and bigger volumes, and it takes really good detail as well. What else? Materials. There we go. So I have made a mold. This is silicone. I think I've used Tincture or like one of some of the silicones. There you go. Then we're going to be using the silicone as well. The silicone I use to make the actual prosthetic is called Plat Gel, and you've got different versions of the silicone. You mix the silicone is 1 by 1 parts, and you mix it in little pots. You can reuse any pots of any kind. Sometimes I just reuse whatever I've got. In the kitchen, in a workshop, obviously, you would use new containers. This is a panel for cosplayers, so I'm going to be talking a bit about ways to cut down the costs. So one of the ways is to reuse cups like this, or pot noodle cups. These are great for mixing because the plastic is really hard and you can mix a big volume in there. Or you can reuse coffee cups as well. Right, so that's one thing over there. I haven't done a panel online ever, so apologies. There we go. Perfect. So what I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to tilt the camera and I'm going to be showing you a little bit how to use the materials. I'm going to be showing you some tools as well. So let's have a look and see if, yeah, you can see that properly. Thank you. There we go. So this is the clay I was talking about. So you get some companies. This company is called Chavant, and they've got different hardness to it. So the one I use is medium. You can heat it up under a heat lamp, or you can use a slow cooker as well. So there you go. See, so it's somewhat easy to sculpt with. Don't know if you can see. Yeah, it's a new experience for most of us. Cool, excellent. So we're all on the same page. Good. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. Yeah, it's more people than I expected, so it's great. So there you go. So you can sculpt with this. I'm not going to be doing anything in particular. I'm just going to show you how the clay behaves and things like that. There we go. There we go. And let's just use some of the tools I've got. There we go. This is one of the tools I use. I don't know if you can see. Does it more like oven baked clay? Do you mean epoxy clay? Not at all. So this don't put it in the oven because it's going to melt. Basically, this clay, it is quite solid, right? I'll just put it in here. It's quite solid. So the heat that goes through your hands, or the heat that goes from a lamp, or the heat that goes from a slow cooker, it will make it go a bit softer. Too much heat, it will melt it. It will definitely melt it, which is, for certain projects, is good. So if you've got a mold, you want to just pour the clay, you could do that. But for this, we're just going to sculpt something, and then we're going to make a mold out of that. Don't put that in the oven. Hello, Laura. Hi. I'm just seeing some people from like so long ago. There we go. Let's say I'll make like a little wound, something like that. So it's quite rough right now, as you can see. So you've got different tools to make the surface a bit smoother, right? So we've got this one, you've got some rakes as well. Got this. I'm gonna just lay it down as for you guys to see. So some of that. This one, I don't know if you can see the teeth. There you go. That one, this one is really good to like smooth down the really rough surface, and then you can use different tools to make it smoother. Just gonna start with that. There we go. So basically it's just a slow process. If you want to make it well, you need to not rush, especially because it's for cosplay. If it's not for film and things like that, take your time. Don't worry about making mistakes. Cosplay is just cosplay. If it's for a film, then depends on what project you're working on. If it's for a workshop, you might need to speed up. It depends on how the workshop works. But that studio, there you go. Not the clay sculpting tools. You mean this ones? So this one's they're just sculpting tools. They're just like, if you go, there's a website, there's a shop called Neil's Materials. And these ones here, they're just sculpting tools. So they will give you a different range of different shapes and different, you know, finish and things like that. And basically you just have a look and see the ones you want to try on. Cool. What brand of tool do you prefer? Well, as I mentioned, there's a shop. They do ship internationally, but it's a UK based shop. It's called Neil's Materials. So basically, it's the shop from Neil Gorton, which is the guy who did. Sorry, I'm just gonna. All the aliens for Doctor Who, and also what I think he funded Millennium Effects. He's got a shop and he's got a lot of different tools. There's other shops around the world. I'm not sure about the States. In the States, in LA, there's a few. There's Motion Effects, I think. But yeah, there we go. So basically, it's just a matter of practicing. I've got a lot of tools, but I end up using the same ones all the time. So basically, I use this one all the time, I use this one at the time, this one at the time, and then I've got, like, let me show you. Hello. I've got this, and then I've got more at the back. So it depends on the actual tools that work best for you, or you think you can do the most out of it. Oops. There you go. Perfect. Also, it's really good. If you want to cut down cost, you can also use dentist's tools like this one. So if you go to the dentist and then they're going to throw away some tools, you can ask them to keep them. And then you can use it to sculpt with it. So I use these a lot. And they're really cheap on eBay as well. But if we are on a budget, I would recommend asking your dentist next time you go. Because most of the times, you know, if they break, like this one, these are tweezers. Tweezers. Right, and if they break, they're just going to throw it away. But this is really great because there's some like teeth in there, and it's a great for texture and for smoothing down the surface. There we go. Great. So, if you're going to make something that is real or is realistic, I would always recommend to use references. So if you're going to make a wound, if you cut yourself, or if you've got like a wound on your knee, things like that, always take pictures. They have great references for the real colour of blood, and for real wounds and real textures and real patterns and things like that. Well, I didn't know that, Emily. Cool. Yeah, that I mean, at the end of the day, that's just tools like this, so you can use it for anything, really. So yeah, I'm just gonna make a little whatever, like this. There we go. And then this is a great tool as well, so it's a double tool. This is really handy as well because there's pointed loop in there, but also it's got this really great finish on the other end, and it's really great for, like, you know, bigger sculptures as well, smoothing down the edges. There you are. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, obviously, because we only have, I think this only does like an hour. So we've got under an hour to do prosthetics and to show you how to apply prosthetics as well. There we go. I'm just saying there we go all the time. Great. So I don't know if you can see well. Now I'm just gonna smoothing it down a bit more. Then we're gonna add some skin texture. That's a really interesting way of making your prosthetic pop and make it look more realistic. So what I usually do, so this one you probably won't be able to see it. Thank you, Clara. So this one in here, I just can't see it myself. It's got teeny tiny teeth on one end. So on one side you can smooth it down really smoothly. On the other one, because of the rake texture, you can level the surface of your sculpt. Sometimes I use it as well as part of the skin texture. But it's really difficult to talk while I'm doing stuff because I just really concentrate on the thing. But yeah, and that happens to me as well if I'm doing a demo on stage at a convention. That happens to me as well, so apologies. So at the end of it, we're gonna have like 10 minutes or like maybe 5 minutes for questions and answers. So if you've got any other questions, and I can recommend books as well. I've got a couple of books here that will strongly recommend for newbies and professionals and experienced people as well, because one of that's just really good books, and they're written by professionals. One thing I will recommend, try not to follow tutorials on YouTube, like you know, the Coca-Cola can on your face. That's so dangerous because you can trip and you can fall on that, and then that will definitely go deep inside your skin and your skull. So things like that, don't do that. Just go have a look and ask professionals. Most of them, they reply on Instagram, they reply online. Some of them, they actually have channels on YouTube, and they teach proper methods to do that kind of stuff. So always try to get a professional reference for this kind of stuff, like health and safety first, always. There we go. So Lucky Cat is a great girl, is a great cosplayer, and I met her in the Netherlands, and she did really amazing work on her first prosthetics and on wigs, and she's only been cosplaying for a year. I didn't know that. It's pretty impressive. But yeah, thank you for being here. Can you hear me well? Is the sound good? Don't know if you can see that. More or less. Great. I'm going to show you some wrinkle tools. There we go. So these ones, you can also find them in those shops. They're called wrinkle tools. It depends. I'm actually missing one. Anyway, so some of them, they're quite soft. Some of them are a bit stiffer, thicker, thinner. Great, thank you. And they're really great for like creating wrinkles. Sometimes if you want to create something more deep, you use a bit of plastic like this, and then just get that, and then just apply the tool, and you will create a very soft down texture, so you won't be breaking the surface of the clay. Don't know if you can see that bit in there. Anyways, we can carry on. I'm actually going to soften it down a bit. So one thing you want to do with your prosthetics, you want to level it down as much as possible. So what by that I mean, so these rims, right? Let's see if you can see it like this. There you go. So there's no big jump between the surface and the prosthetic, so it's quite level, it is smooth transition, so it's like smooth and smooth, and then it starts rising up. That is important because when you take them on, then when you run the appliance, when you apply it, that's what's going to make it look like it's part of your skin. So if you go like this, well, I'll show you later because that's got the flashing, but anyway, so you go like that. If that were part of the prosthetic, that will show up, so it will break the illusion. And there we go. So I'm just going to leave it like that, and I'm going to show you the wrinkle tools. So there we go. So you basically have a look at pictures of skin and have a look at your arm and your own face, your own hand, and see how skin works and the direction of the skin, the pores, etc., etc., and just work by that. Important to have a look at references. There we go. I've got another one that's a bit thicker, so it will. Sounds good, Andy? Good. It will make deeper marks, but this is just fine because, you know, unless you're doing an all person, and even if you're doing an all person, like skin texture is very subtle, is there, and definitely if you don't have skin texture, it will show on the prosthetic once you apply it and you paint it. But if you have a slight texture in there, it will pop, it will make it look even better. Now this one I made ages ago. I made it in 2015 because I didn't have money to buy these. So these are quite expensive. I think it was about £15, which is like what, $20, something like that. So if you're a cosplayer and you don't want to spend that money, you can get some wire. I think this is piano wire, and I just created my own wrinkle tool, and it was fine. It was, I mean, obviously not perfect, but it was okay for all purposes. It was just fine. Or, and like pottery and other kind of tools as well. I've got this one in here. I don't know if you can see it well. So it's another like a rake type of tool, and you can use this as well. This is a bit harsher because the bristles are shorter, therefore they're quite hard, so they don't bend as much as this one does. There we go. Right, and what this allows is to follow the curvature and the volumes of your sculpt. This one is not going to allow that. This is really hard. It doesn't bend at all. Picture and hanging wire. Yeah, try it. Why not? I haven't tried it. But by all means, just because there's tools already made that people sell doesn't mean you can only use those. You can make your own tools. There's a lot of times I use the cap of let me see if I've got one here. The cap of pens and things like that to sculpt with it. So by all means, you can experiment and make a project, have a look, try it out, and then let me know, because I would like to see how it works. Yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, okay. Don't know if you can see it's a bit harsher in there, like this. There we go. And let's go to the pores. So this is really great because this is really cheap. Everybody's got access to it, and also if you don't have access to it, you can use just a pencil. So let me show you what I've got. Great, so there's different tools for paws, like skin paws. This one is in a specific skin paw, so it's got 4 different tips in there. There we go. You just use it like a stamp, right? You can use it as a stamp, but you go all around the skin and you give it some paw texture in there. There we go. Right, it's a bit harsh for me. So there's other stamps as well. So there's like rollers and things like that. There's a I think it's Swedish. It's a Scandinavian company called Effect Studio, Effecton Studio, something like that. I can't pronounce it. And they do like very specific rollers and stamps. But then again, if you just start it out, if you want to try it, if you want to just experiment, you can use anything really. You can use even a pencil. So if you take a pencil like this, just normal pencil, put some plastic in there so you don't break the surface of it, and you just go like this. You create actually pretty good paws. And if you can go to like a pound shop or like an €1 shops and things like that, you can find these. So these are nail art tools. So they end in like a little ball in there. They're bigger ones. I'm going to take the big ones so you can see it. There we go. The bigger ones. There we are. Right. So there's different sizes. Usually it's a pack of 3 and you get like the whole range of sizes and all of that. So this is the tiniest, this is the smallest, and this is great. This is perfect for paws. So you can just press on it. Just going to press really hard so you can see. There you go. Yeah, that's too hard obviously. Just press really, really lightly, but I just did that so you can see in the camera because I'm not sure if you can see it. But yeah, just go like that. And you create your skin texture. It's all nice and soft. And now, one of the tricks to make the prosthetic, the sculpt look really good is baby powder. So baby powder is an abrasive. What that means is gonna break down a little bit of, you know, the harsh edges and all the little bits and bobs that we don't want in there. Just go like that. You can use a coarse sponge or you can use a brush. So just go like that. Just don't be shy, be brave, just go in there. It's going to make it look really good because what it's going to do is going to soften all those edges from the sculpt. And basically that's the process. So what you want to do is like little by little just touch-ups and keep on adding texture. For things like scales and other kind of textures, you can make your own stamp. If you find a really good texture, you can put some silicone on it. The higher the number of silicone, the harder the silicone is going to be. And yeah, you can use your own stamp. Otherwise, yeah, just keep on doing the pores and the wrinkles. That's all cool. Also, you could do, as I was showing you earlier, you could do harsher textures, just like this. This is a great tool. I think it was a nail art tool as well. So it's like a pole in there, but it's got like an angle. So it's a bit pointy on one side and it's flat at the bottom. And it's really great to make like very nice deep wrinkles, and I use it a lot. So that is pretty much the process of sculpting prosthetics. Is it already 5:30? Wow. Anyways, so we've got about half an hour. In half an hour, I'm going to show you how to do the rest of it. There we are. Cool. So once you've got your sculpt ready, right? So this is the one I did for the demo today. So that's being used already, it's being scrapped and all of that. So once you do the mold and you've got your prosthetic ready, you can just take the clay out, reuse it, and you can sculpt something else with it. So once you've got that, you're going to add the flashing to it. So the flashing is just a rim around the sculpt, so it will be something like this, right? And that's going to make the cap plastic not break once you take it out. Of the mold. So that's the sculpt, right? From there, we're going to build a little wall around it. You can build it with wooden sticks and a glue gun, or you can build it with clay. You can build it with water-based clay. You can build it, what I did, I used one of these and put it, so I cut the bottom, I put it there, I'll glue it down, and I poured the silicone, and that was it. So you can use any materials really, as long as they are clean and they don't have any residual chemicals or residual materials that might interfere with the cure of the silicone. And so the mold was like this. So you take it out, and that is the result. So is the negative. Is that a hole on your? Is that a hole in your head? Because yeah. So I decided to make a horn, right? Because I am about to publish a book about special effects for cosplayers. That will be, I think it will be released around the summer or something like that. It depends on how things work around the world, because, you know, we know that things are weird right now, so we'll see. But it's in the making. It's almost ready, and this is going to be one of the demos. So I'm going to be showing in detail, in very like deep detail, how to apply this, which I'm going to be showing today on my hand. But yeah, on the book you'll see all the steps, and it'll be like really detailed. So from here we go to, where's the other? In here. So basically, once you've got that on the mold, you're going to apply some Vaseline, that is a release agent. Once that's a bit dry, you're going to apply cap plastic. Ideally you will apply it with an airbrush, but again, this is excuse me, this is for people that are on a budget. So in fact, the way I started it, I was brushing it, and that's that's one of the ways they teach you when you start in this career. Cap plastic, when it's something this deep, it might puddle there, so you want to apply it and maybe leave it like this until it dries. Apply it again, leave it like that until it dries, and it will all be even. Once you finish that, you take your prosthetic silicone. It is really important because, as I said earlier, it's all about chemical reactions, right? So you want to pour part A in one cup and part B in another cup. And then you want to get a third cup and pour with a scale underneath, obviously, because you need to mix one by one part. That means one part of A and one part of B. For example, 10 grams of A and 10 grams of B. So you just pour in there, pour in there. You add some Detner as well to make the prosthetic a bit softer. And you just mix it. You can mix it with a wooden tool. You don't have to buy tongue compressors. They're really good, they're quite sturdy, but again, in a budget you can use wooden spoons, and that's what I've been using lately. So you know, because you're in a job or you're in a diner or whatever, and then you know, you can just grab a couple of them, mix it well, pour it on the mold, and this is how it's gonna look like. So once it's cured, so most likely if you get a little silicone there while you pour it, check little by little that silicone, and once that's cured, this one will be cured, and then you can take it out. The way to take it out, again, baby powder. So you just dab on the baby powder, and then you just leave this a bit, and you'll be doing this little by little. What the baby powder will do will release the cap plastic from the silicone mold, and then you will have your silicone piece. There you go. And this is the pre-painted version I made. So I'm going to apply it really quickly, and for that I'm going to be using Prosaid. Prosaid is a makeup, well, this is surgical, I'm not sure if it's surgical glue or not. The other glues for silicone, they are actually surgical glues. This one is water-based, so it's quite safe for the skin. All these products are very safe for the skin. I would not recommend using spirit gum. So spirit gum, what it was a glue for the theatre, and for like back in the day, like back in the 20s when they started doing special effects makeup. Right now, it doesn't make much sense to use spirit gum. Spirit gum crystallizes, so when it dries and you want to take it off, it's gonna hurt a bit. This one is fine as long as you use a remover. You're absolutely fine. Always, when you buy your glue, buy a remover. Failing that, I think baby oil works. I haven't tried it myself, but all the professionals say that baby oil works to remove the glue. But anyway, so I'll show you how Prosaid works. So you take a little bit, you dab a little bit with a cotton bud or Q-tip in the States, and you apply it on the back of the prosthetic, all over the surface, just a bit more, all over the surface. There we go. Why am I saying that all the time? I don't know. Sorry. There. Oh. Well, that shouldn't have happened, but it's okay. It's just a demo. Vegetable oil works. Cool. Great. Thanks. So apparently, yeah. So vegetable oil works as a remover. So that's great. So anyway, so we've got that in there. So we let it dry a little bit, and we take a bit more of the glue, and we apply it on the surface of the skin. So a little layer, a thin layer that almost immediately goes transparent. Yep. We let it dry. So some glues, the way they work, they only bond once they're slightly dry, so they become tacky, and that's when they bond. If you glue if you put Prosaid and then immediately you put something on top, or you put like a prosthetic on top, it's going to be very difficult for that to glue properly onto the skin. So there we are. Yep, and I'm just going to apply it in there. So obviously I will need both hands to do this properly, but for all purposes, that's how we're going to be making it. Yeah, it's pretty much there. So what I'm going to do now, so because I used the cap plastic, that cap plastic is called Super Baldies. That one is alcohol based, so in order to remove that, we're going to be using some isopropyl alcohol, and that's going to dissolve the cap plastic, and it's going to leave a very good edge of the prosthetic. There we go, I'm just dabbing on the alcohol. There. And then again, this is a challenge because usually you have your both hands and then you're doing the makeup on someone else, but it's just working just fine. There we go. So that's the flashing off. You keep on going around the edge. To blend it properly. Now, what I usually do, I would dab a little bit of Proceed around the edge, and that's going to seal that edge, so it's going to be more secure, and it's not going to wrinkle or anything. But it's pretty good now, as you can see. Yeah. And I'm going to show you as well some of the colours I use. So silicone prosthetics, you need to paint them either with packs. Packs are some paints that are the proportion of those paints is half Proceed and half acrylic paints. So if you've got those, you just mix it half and half, and then you've got yourself some really good paints for prosthetics, especially for foam latex prosthetics. For silicone ones, ideally you would need to use alcohol-based paints. Now this is the one part that you can't really cheap out because they're not cheap and there's no other alternative really. So I use a lot of Skin Illustrator. It's not that today. So you get different colours. I've got a lot of different palettes, and then there's other tiny ones as well, like blood and things like that. There's other companies, it's not just Skin Illustrator. There's another company called Mr. Dashbow that is in the UK. Rubbing alcohol based, yes, that is isopropyl alcohol. And the one you use for prosthetics is 99% purity. That means for 100 parts, that means there's just only one part of water in there. Anyway, it's like the most pure kind of alcohol, and that's what you want for your prosthetics. Cap plastic is another, there's another version of that, which is acetone based, and that is easier for people to get, I guess. I like using alcohol better because it's never going to be like awfully bad for your skin. Well, acetone, I don't like putting acetone on my skin anyways. But there's an alternative, it's a bit cheaper I think, and it's acetone based, so same principle. You just dab the little brush or the little cotton bud on the acetone and just dissolve the acetone based cap plastic. I think there's another one. I think this like Mr. Dashbow. You get a lot of different ones. They're very cute. There's this one. This is Brian Keeney's, my mate, great makeup artist, and he's got his own line of stuff as well. But yeah, I'm going to be showing you a little bit to work with this palette. So in here I've got alcohol, 99% on this. Hi Sarah! Just spray a little bit on that. I'm going to get a little brush. For brushes, same thing. There's like very good brands of brushes out there for special effects especially. You know, by all means you can use any kind of brushes that don't lose the bristles and stuff. There we go. Just going to be dabbing a bit of this. This is very pigmented, so you just want to use a little tiny bit. I'm going to make it a bit more dramatic so you can actually see what I'm doing. And again, this is all like a patience process, so little by little. Let me check the time. Oh wow, okay, it's 10:02. I'll do some Q&A while I finish this, and I can just finish it like this. If you guys got any questions, any more questions, feel free to shoot. Otherwise, I'm gonna be finishing this in here. I don't know if you can see. There you go, yeah. Yep, so it's well glued onto my skin. Now this is really quick, so usually depending on the size of the prosthetics, books, yes, it takes longer. So whenever I do a makeup, at least I would like to have like 2 hours to can we pre-order your book, my book? Oh, I will let you know, and definitely I will let you know. Not yet, because I don't know yet which platform I'm going to be selling it on, but you'll see. What was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. Is the paint secure? It will wipe off on clothing. No, it won't, because it's alcohol based. So basically, this you can sweat a lot and it's not gonna rub off or anything. If you drink the day before, if you get really drunk the day before, because your body will exude alcohol, that's gonna rub off the makeup. So before a convention where you're gonna use this paint, don't drink the night before, because otherwise you're gonna, it might rub off. It's happened to me before, not to me, like a client. I did a makeup. He got really drunk the next day. He woke up and the makeup was gone, which is great. So I didn't have to remove it. But yeah, so book recommendations. This one here is amazing. This is the makeup. You're welcome. This is the makeup Bible. This is a really good book. You get all the processes there. You get all the professionals in here as well. Let me find just something cool. Things like this. All the processes are well explained. This is really good. This is an amazing book. This is what you want. This one here. So I'm going to hold it a little bit. Oh yeah, I was saying, let me see. Oh, 6 minutes. To make a good makeup, I always want to have at least 2 hours, because you never know. Because you you always want to have like spare prosthetics just in case, because you might glue it, or like it happened to me earlier. I dropped it, so that's a big no. So after that needs to be discarded, and you need to use another one. You're not gonna put that on an actor. If you're cosplay it, I mean, I just put it on myself. It's just me. But things like that, so whatever happened, you always want to have spares. How long did it take me to make the whole process? I would say an afternoon, a few hours. I mean, it's really tiny, it's not that big. I would say I was sculpting for like maybe an hour or two, and then silicone cures, I think it takes about, I would say, around 40 minutes, depending on the silicone, and the cap plastic needs to dry, so that would say a whole afternoon, evening. Yeah, so really good book, highly recommended. Very good magazines, the prosthetics magazine. This is really cool. So I mean, look at that. So these come out every 3 months, I think, or every 4 months, and they are just amazing. Amazing. Cap plastic. Get they're all the brands, but basically it's either Super Boldies, which is alcohol-based, and Boldies, which is acetone-based. All the brands got their own brands, but ultimately it's called Cat Plastic, and it depends on what is like based on either alcohol or acetone. We've got still 4 minutes. Yay! So anyway, so if you can see as well, it's quite soft. So if you want to make it softer, you mix the plat gel with something called deadener, and it will make it softer. You see, this one's slightly softer. I used more deadener, and I used less on this one. Now, if you want to make a rigid horn and then a prosthetic around, that's a whole different world. And yeah, that will take like hours to explain. But I might add that on a second version of the book. But yeah, any other questions at all? If not, I'm gonna show you some other tools. This is a really good brush. It's a very hard bristle brush. It's really good for spattering. So basically you take, you dab it on alcohol paint, and then you just go like this, and what it would create like little subtle splatter, and that's really good for breaking down the colour of the skin. And well, thank you so much, Mr. Mr. You. Thank you so much. Great. I don't know if this is gonna let me know when it's gonna go dead, but anyways, thank you so much. If you got any other questions, by all means, just send me a message. I'll be happy to reply. You can also send me an email if you like. My email is begonafmartin, as in begonafmartin@gmail.com. I'll be happy to answer any questions, and for any other things, keep an eye on my Instagram if you like, and I will announce there about the book as well. Thank you so much, guys. It was really good, and thank you, ArdaCon, for this. So thank you so much. Bye.